So this is your right eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks normal to me. So this right here is the center of your right eye. So the optic nerve, which is this yellow structure here, and then you have these blood vessels coming up and down around it, and it feeds the very center. So this is normal. This is what your left eye looks like. So these, when you look at it at first, you're like, oh God, that looks bad. But in reality, these are actually old scars.
What's that black thing?
So that's a scar as well. So a larger scar for that matter. So you have all these multiple areas here that is kind of dense white.
What room is this in?
In 19 min.
Okay, good.
So these are dense white little lesions here that are scars. Now, if these lesions had, there's all these different layers. It's a 2D picture, so I can't really, show you in a 3D the different layers of the retina. But the point is when you have kind of a hole through and through the retina, it looks white. If the hole is not complete, you start seeing some of these black scarring. So you see some of it here as well, and you actually have some of it in this corners here as well. Point is when I look at both eyes, you may actually, it's really subtle, but you may have some scarring even down in your right eye, but it's just not as obvious as it is in the left eye. So as far as your vision goes, that's really the big thing, right? Okay, wonderful, you have scars, but the reason you came to me is because your left eye is just not seeing as well as the right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This right here is the center of your vision, this area. And notice you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scars here, and this one being the most prominent. This is an old scar. This is not, unfortunately, anything active. And how do I know? That's when I do the dye test. So the dye test essentially shows me that. So let's kind of walk through from the start here. So here's essentially the start of the dye test. And when I'm looking through the dye test, as time is going on, usually if the lesions are active, these little white spots, it'll start brightening up and it'll start getting brighter and bigger, if you will. They look exactly the same. This is a picture of your left eye, or excuse me, your right eye, which looks pristine. This is how it should look. And then these are the areas of the old scars. But as I go on with time, and I'm looking at the timestamp here, these lesions look very stable. And the most important area for you is the center, right here. This is the very center of your vision where you have clearly scars around it, but nothing looks active to me. So the point I'm making is these
What would
lesions...
have triggered it to all of a sudden? Like, was the car accident couldn't have been the only thing that made it suddenly? What
No.
triggered it?
I think I have a feeling, well, it's just you, unfortunately. It's an autoimmune condition. So patients in your age category, young, nearsighted females, you literally fit the bill for it. I think the car accident was coincidentally that when you got hit, you became more aware of your vision being really blurry. And then all of this started surfacing. Now, was this going on for probably several weeks, maybe months before? Probably. Now, this lesion itself, usually, remember I mentioned to you last time that you'd have to go see a uveitis specialist potentially? Mm-hmm. So I looked at the uveitis guidelines for this condition, and the reality is this condition by itself is self-limiting. It doesn't really do a whole lot. Aside from this, you don't start steroids for this. What you usually start treatment for is if these lesions started bleeding. If they bled, your vision could theoretically get a whole lot worse. It's not like your vision is horrible right now. You still have vision out there, but if you started bleeding in there, then I would have to theoretically treat you with injections in the eyeball. I'm not saying we're going to go there. And unlike this, you won't feel that, I promise. So, point is there's really nothing more to do at this point. I would just monitor. Now, I would still prefer to do the lab test because I want to rule out other infectious causes, other inflammatory causes that we just haven't, really discovered just yet. Now, truth be told, knowing your history, I'm pretty sure they would have done all sorts of labs to rule things in and out. So you would have known by now if you had other conditions. But just to be safe, because this is all brand new to your world, let's just go ahead and do the basic lab work, which is what I want you to get done over there. And if I see anything that just doesn't look right, then I would probably...
So there's not a way to fix that?
Scar tissue, unfortunately, scar tissue. There's no way to reverse scar tissue. The goal now would be to make sure it doesn't progress or it doesn't reactivate, if you will. This all looks old. This doesn't look like it's gotten a whole lot. So I know it's a lot to take in, but that's unfortunate reality for the left eye. Now I'm not signing off and saying, oh, there's nothing. We can maybe update your pair of glasses and see if we can try to get things going here. But yeah, that unfortunately is mostly scar tissue, so there's no way for us to reverse that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be the bearer of bad news here.
It's fine.
Do that.